How would you assess your handling of immigration issues as mayor, and what specific immigration reforms would you champion as governor?
I do support a comprehensive approach towards immigration reform. Look, we have a system right now that frankly doesn't work. It's chaotic, it's complex, it's difficult to understand, and it's difficult to get an answer out of our current system. So I certainly support anything that would streamline that and make it more easy and more accessible for people to understand and to utilize. And we can do that, and I can support that as governor, but I would be careful to be careful about not encouraging folks to break the law. I think that this is a nation of laws. I think we have to be a welcoming community as well as a lawful community, and we have to balance those two things. When the state of Connecticut does things to undermine the rule of law, that's really bad public policy, and it's really bad for all of us in this room. So there are ways that you can absolutely strike that balance between being a lawful society and being a welcoming society, and certainly a comprehensive approach towards immigration reform is one way to do that. And there's a variety of different bills out there. I'm not going to get into the details of them. Some I like, some I didn't like, but I think that generally we can follow that path and come up with a resolution to it. I do want to touch for a second on some of, and particularly on Danbury. We provided a program. I mentioned training earlier related to our police department. We provided a program that trained 2 of our detectives to be able to go out and enforce immigration law if you're involved in a serious crime. If you're involved in a serious crime. And we apprehended 22 people in that program. One of those individuals was taking flying lessons at Danbury Airport. Flying lessons at Danbury Airport. You tell me if you think that person deserves to stay in the United States of America. Another person had 4 sex offender convictions. A third had 6 DWIs. Do those individuals, have they earned the right to stay here? I say no. And so we're not afraid to take advantage of programs that maybe seem controversial, but at the end of the day might be for the betterment of the public safety of all of our residents. And by the way, when Barack Obama ended that program in December of 2012, the same advocates that were opposed to it came to me and said, we like that program. That's a good program. Why are we getting rid of that? Because now we just have a computer that's determining whether or not you're going to be deported or not. We have taken the human element out, and the decisions made by our detectives that often were good decisions for most people that are living here lawfully were thrown out the window.
Comment, Vistani? In 2008, I brought some information that we had to the U.S. Attorney's Office when New Haven, I was running for Congress, and New Haven wanted to, was giving out the ID cards, and Hartford was on the verge of becoming a sanctuary city. We didn't go forward with the charges, but Hartford didn't become a sanctuary city. As a contractor, I've seen what's happened in the trades, to the tradesmen at my age and a little younger, undercut at business. This is not an issue that doesn't affect American workers. So if you take a look at business and workers, this is where we need to look, not necessarily at the inhuman. Because Republicans are always called, well, we don't like illegal immigrants, and so we're going to lose the Spanish vote. Come on. This is the rule of law, again, going down the tubes. So I would not be a governor who would not follow the current law. I do believe this is an election year issue also for the Congress, and so we're going to have to keep close attention to what happens with immigration. But whatever we do, we have to do it humanly. With deportations, I'm all for that. But at the same time, our businesses and our trades have taken a brutal beating, and there's no young people going into the trades, or even inner city people in the trades today. Those jobs were taken by people that came here.
Senator McKinney?
Well, the first part of the question was about Mark's policy as mayor, and I wasn't intimately familiar with it, but he was reelected successfully, so I would have to say that between him and the city of Danbury, they certainly were in favor of what he did, and I would, support him in that. Listen, if we don't get national immigration reform, we're going to end up with the Democrats in Connecticut continuing to do what they've been doing, whether it's the former mayor of New Haven creating a sanctuary city, or whether Governor Malloy giving driver's licenses to people who are not eligible for driver's licenses. And if you want to be afraid, understand that the Secretary of State just announced that online voter registration is available in this state of Connecticut, and there is no way to detect when someone gives you their driver's license whether that's a person who's eligible to vote or someone who's not. We need the federal government to get their act together What I will do as governor is not support those policies, veto those bills, and as Joe said, work with the trades to make sure that honest, hard-working people don't have their jobs taken by others.
Senator Boucher?
Immigrants have really built this country. In fact, I would maintain that most of the people in this audience probably have relatives that were immigrants and came here, just as I did with my family, as the one immigrant here probably on the stage. But we had to go through a very difficult process, background checks, sponsorships. And that process, and I feel I speak for so many of those that went through the legal immigration process, that what has been happening in circumventing our laws puts people ahead of the line of so many that went through so much. And there are positive aspects to going through that difficult process, and that is background checks to see, in fact, if it's working properly. So I would definitely support immigration reform at the national level so that there is a legal path to citizenship. And just as Senator McKinney said, the concern that I had as ranking member of the Transportation Committee when we fought against giving driver's license to individuals not here legally, we were successful. It did not get through the Transportation Committee. However, the governor found a way around that, and this is why we have a situation where our voting system could be at risk.
That concludes the